So we're gonna move right on in the next group, Group I, where we talk about England, Hungary, Albania. Just saying Hungary makes me a bit hungry, man. Poland, Andorra, and World Cup debutants for sure, San Marino. Let's talk about San Marino, man. Talk to me about San Marino.
I'll go ahead and knock out two right now. I have both San Marino and Andorra at invalid passport. Unfortunately, San Marino will not be able to defend their World Cup title this year. I don't know if you heard, but most of their team were like, "No, we're good," and they all retired. So now they gotta find replacements. They're going off doing bigger things, making book deals, starring in movies, and sitting on beaches with models and everything. You can't blame them being world champions. But San Marino and Andorra. Andorra themselves, the landlocked nation in between northern Spain and France. Yeah, I mean, they're not at the same level as San Marino. I think they should beat San Marino twice in this group. That just goes to show how lowly San Marino are. But this is actually the one group that has, I think, two of among the worst teams in it. Because of the way the draw was conducted, somehow Andorra found themselves in pot 5. So I don't have much to say. That's where both of them belong.
Yeah, we're gonna see some big score lines in this group, man. So definitely some golden nuggets, golden nugget time. San Marino has played 66 World Cup qualifying games. They have won none, drew 2, lost 64. During that period, I should say, they scored 11 goals and conceded 310. For Andorra, their record isn't much better. They have played 55 matches in qualifiers. They have won 2. They drew 3. They lost 50. They have scored 15 goals but conceded 170. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So we're going to move on to Poland. They qualified for 8 out of 21 World Cups, 1974, 1982. They placed 3rd at those events, and in 2018, they made it, and they did not get out the groups. Talk to me about Robert Lewandowski's Poland.
This might be a little bit of a bold prediction. I think Poland might be a little bit on the way out. I have them on standby just because they could make it to the playoffs because they remained afloat in League A of the Nations League. And correct me if I'm wrong, might be wrong about this, but if they don't qualify, they're more than likely than not to make it to the playoffs because of the fact they're in the Nations League, right? In League A.
Well, yeah, they do not have a cushion for the Nations League. The teams, what's interesting is Albania and Hungary do have a cushion here. So when we get to Hungary, just note they're second right now. They have a Nations League cushion from topping their Group I in League B. So let's just make note of that one. So Poland do not have a cushion, and they're outside of the top 2 spots right now. But I think, judging from their quality, Robert Lewandowski in their team, Zielinski,
Travaneni,
and you got to go to their goalkeepers, Fabianski and Szczesny. These guys, they have Bednarek in defense. They have some good players. They have some good players, but they're too heavily reliant on Robert Lewandowski. The other players need to step up and score some damn goals. Remember the Polish team fudged up the whole thing for the 2018 World Cup, where they were playing weak. They blatantly scheduled games against weaker oppositions in friendlies so that they could actually seed. They could seed higher. Which is ridiculous, man. And they got exposed.
They really
got exposed.
You and I both called their bluff. You and I both predicted them to not advance from that group. Yeah. We both had some combination of Colombia, Senegal, and Japan. And You know, uh, they didn't. They had a very disappointing Euro 2020 as well. So the last two major international tournaments, they've basically flopped, and I think they finished bottom. They lost to Slovakia. Yeah, they lost to Slovakia. They drew with Spain. They lost to Sweden. Even before Euro 2020, I don't know if you heard this, but Robert Lewandowski was saying like he didn't have much confidence in like where this team was headed. I mean, their main talisman, it doesn't feel positive about the national team that he plays for, that he really carries on his own shoulders. But because of the quality they have on this team, I think they're the second best side. You know, they play England this September. Maybe they can beat England and make a case for direct qualification again. But I'm going to say standby. I think that's fair. Standby for Poland.
I do have them on standby, you know, but this was before the Euros, man. A certain team has emerged as a very, very one of the favorites to actually, let's say, even take a playoff spot. And that team is Hungary. I think Hungary would have something to say about that. But let's put them on standby because it's still early in qualifiers, and we know Poland do have some quality. And with Robert Lewandowski in any team, you got to give him the best chance possible. But I don't think they will qualify ahead of England, who we'll get to. I don't think they'll top this group at all. So let us talk about Albania, who currently has 6 points, potential debutants. Do you think Albania could do the damn business?
What's interesting about teams that are not minnows and teams that are not powerhouses, nor teams that are like a step below powerhouses, is that they are the trickiest ones to usually predict in groups because they can cause a whole bunch of mayhem and prevent other teams from qualifying. Albania, I have met visa denied, because I think that they should finish below England and Poland and Hungary. All three were recent Euro 2020 participants, 2 of them being World Cup participants, the most recent edition. It's just too much for Albania. I mean, they're a team that, how did they do in the last Nations League? Do you remember where they finished?
They finished the top their group because they do have a spot. They top their group.
You're right. Yeah. They topped ahead of Belarus, Lithuania, and Kazakhstan. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still,
they're not a bad team. They have some quality in their team. You know what I mean? New quality striker coming through. Armando Broja, Chelsea youngster loan at Southampton. They have a few talented players playing in Italy. The names are not coming to me right now, but like Haisai, and you know these names. They have some good players in the Granit Xhaka's brother, Tulan Xhaka. They do have some quality in their team, but I think it's too much to ask of them to go on to top this group, man.
Yeah.
But you never know. You never know.
Yeah, they're not a bad team, but
yeah, I have Albania. Where do I put Albania? I think I have Albania in Mr. Flight. I have them in Mr. Flight. A little above where you put them, but I have them in Mr. Flight. So let us talk about Hungary, man, who have qualified for 9 out of 23 World Cups, but interestingly have not made it since 1986. They came closest since then in 1998 when they made the playoffs and lost 12-1 to Yugoslavia, the last Yugoslavia team that was around in 1998. 12-1. God damn.
Wow.
Hungary, talk to me.
I think if Hungary had just a slightly easier group in Euro 2020, they make it to the knockout rounds. As you guys may remember, they came just a few minutes away from actually surviving that group. They had a 2-1 lead against Germany, but they ultimately relented. They played France to a 1-1 draw, a game in which they had led early on. They held Portugal at bay for 80 plus minutes for Portugal, finally found their form and put 3 past them. With guys like Fiola and Sabolazai and Salai, and I think Laszlo Kleinheisler, he's still on this team as well. Along with the Czech Republic and Ukraine, I like Hungary's chances of being one of Europe's teams to actually make a return to this World Cup. I would personally love to see sort of like a Magyar renaissance. I have them on standby.
Yeah, same here, same
I'm on
here. I do.
standby.
I had to put them on standby, and I did put them on standby from early on, even before I saw what they did at the Euros or anything. I rated this team highly because recently they had some run-ins with Croatia, even beating Croatia. You remember that was Nations League, right? I think Nations League or Euro qualifier, something I can't remember what, but they did pick up a recent victory against Croatia. You can recall that too, right?
Yeah, they did. It was in Euro qualifiers. They were in the same group as Croatia, and then they topped their Nations League group ahead of Russia, Serbia, and Turkey, and that's why they have the cushion of the Nations League spot. So
Yeah, man. Hungary ain't no team to play with, man, and they have a good setup there and some quality players. And imagine if they had like a Dominic Rich in their team for the Euros. Oh man, Gulaski did a good job. Willie Orban, this team, Loic Nego, the Jalai, Roland Jalai, and Jalai. I can't differentiate from these guys right now, but some very good quality in the Bundesliga, and they could be a force to be reckoned with in World Cup qualifiers, and even bringing the Magyars back at the great event, because it's just sad what has happened to Hungary, man. It's one of the greatest declines ever when you think about what Ferenc Puskás did back in the days with that team.
yeah, they really are one of the great what ifs of international footballing history. They could have won a World Cup, but
Exactly.
they didn't. Yeah.
Wait, that was 1950 or 1954 when they made the final. Which one?
Well, they made the final twice. They made it in 38 and 54.
And wasn't it in 50? They lost to Germany in 50. Who they lost to in 54? Germany or Germany?
They lost to the West Germans after
Yeah.
they relented a 2-goal lead.
And
They lost 3-2.
Didn't they smash Germany early in the tournament? Wasn't it some story like that where it was like a ridiculous scoreline earlier in the tournament? And it's just ridiculous. I need to actually just refresh my memory here, because just to brush up on my whole World Cup thing, because back in 2018 I could have told you exactly what happened, but I want to know. Yeah, 1954.
I think it was 8-3, something like that.
Yeah, it was some ridiculous score, man. It was some ridiculous score, and this is a golden nugget as well. This is definitely a golden nugget. So let me find Hungary. Okay, West Germany, Hungary, 8-3 in the group stages, and Hungary beat South Korea 9-0 as well. But for the final where they met West Germany, in the final and lost. So it's a great story, man. It's a great story, and I'm glad that I'm actually bringing it up. It's golden nugget time, baby. Golden nugget time.
Who knows? Maybe they'll qualify and go on a deep run in Qatar.
You never know, man. You never know. So, last but not least in the group, the three kittens. Euro 2020 finalists, and they meowed out of the contention of winning the thing.
Yeah, banter.
They were supposed to roar and grab the title. They were just so close, but freaking Southgate chose to send up teenagers when you had men. He chose to send the kid. He had lions to actually take the penalties, and he sent up the kittens, which does not make any sense. Talk to me about England.
Yeah, I think it was a major miscalculation. He probably did that because he was trying to get like Sancho and Saka to like express confidence and then be like, "Hey, you got this. You can do this. Yeah, it's high stake." Unfortunately, yeah, they're going to live with that for the rest of their lives. Those misses. You know what? I think England has a lot to be proud about. I think that in the last few years, they've been one of the more consistent sides in UEFA. They've made 3 semifinals of major tournaments: the last World Cup, the first Nations League, now the final of Euro 2020, losing out on home soil at Wembley to Italy. I think that England is going to qualify for the World Cup. They should qualify. I have them going directly. I'm very conservative with my picks of who's definitely going. England should be on that plane. And I want to see if this loss in the Euro 2020 final will prove to be something they look back on as that was their best chance and they're not going to get another opportunity like that for another couple of generations, or if they can maybe go one step further in Qatar. There's a part of me that thinks maybe they can make another semis or finals appearance next year. I think that Southgate, his tactics have been criticized. I mean, you look at how England performed in the group stages. They got those like very meager 1-0 victories over the Czech Republic and Croatia. Raheem Sterling was the only goal scorer, but they turned it up a notch in the knockout rounds. They put Germany to the sword. They beat them in a competitive game for the first time in 20 years. You have to go back to 2002 World Cup qualifying. They destroyed Ukraine. They came from behind against Denmark, which I actually think that showed character for them to be able to do that. And they're a team that you got to give them credit. They were very organized in that tournament. They did not concede a single goal from open play in the entire Euros. So I think they're still a threat, still a team to look out for. England's going to Qatar. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, I also have England qualifying for Qatar, and they might just go and win all their games. They have so much depth in that team, and I'll be surprised if they pull a 1994, which was the last time they actually failed to qualify for the World Cup. They placed third in their group, and interestingly, they had Poland and San Marino in their World Cup qualifying group back when they missed out. So I don't think lightning is gonna strike twice though. I think England got it and they'll qualify directly.
And that was also I didn't mean to cut you up, but that was also a qualifying cycle after just finishing in fourth place in the previous World Cup.
Exactly. 1990. They were champions in 1966, and at the 2018 World Cup, they placed fourth, losing the third place playoffs to Belgium, of course. So that will do it for Group I, and it brings us to the final group. Finally, we are here. Oh my God, what a relief. Group J. I know you guys want us to actually make up some groups and just continue, but we have to end it here. Let us talk about Group J, where there's Armenia, surprisingly, on top of the group right now. North Macedonia second. Germany, yes, you do not have an excess of wax in your ears. You're hearing this right. Germany third. Romania fourth. Iceland and Liechtenstein, potential debutants, sixth. In terms of the Nations League cushion, who has that cushion? I actually moved away from my Nations League screen just so that I could give you guys that golden nugget.
I think Armenia does.
Yes, I am back there. Armenia has it, definitely Armenia. And Germany do not. So if Germany somehow manages to finish third, they will not have a backdoor into the playoffs. So Germany, you better get your act together, and I mean very fast. So the only team from this group that has the loophole back into the playoffs if they place third is Armenia. Things are really looking up for Armenia, man. They're looking good. Talk to me about Liechtenstein, though. We'll get to Armenia pretty soon. Liechtenstein,
I have them, or Liechtenstein, however you say it. I have them an invalid passport. I think that this is one of my favorite groups. I think there is a clear favorite here in Germany, and then you have four other teams that I think are really going to be duking it out for that second spot. And then you have Liechtenstein, who's just really a class below all the rest. I wouldn't even put them in visa denied. I think it's just, they're not good enough.
Do you think that there's any chance you visit Liechtenstein before you kick the bucket, bro? I don't know. Imagine going on the run and just hiding out in Liechtenstein. They will never find you.
Yeah, they might not nobody might not suspect it either. It's a very rich country. I honestly don't know much about it. I would have to look into it, see if I would go there. But
Yeah, Liechtenstein, man, weird. If you do a quiz, you walk around Manhattan, and you ask people if they ever heard of a country named Liechtenstein. Maybe 99% of Americans would be like, "No, what the hell are you talking about?" So we're gonna move on though. Save the banter. Iceland, 2018 World Cup debutants, 2014 playoffs. Let's talk to me about Iceland, man.
well, the Cinderella story for Iceland seems to be over. Ever since the World Cup ended, they've had two horrible Nations League campaigns. I think they've lost every single Nations League game across both seasons. They didn't qualify for the last European Championship. They lost out to the Hungarians. They still have decent quality on their team. I think they're still going to be in contention. Now, here's the thing about Iceland. They play all three of their games this September at home. They have to make the most of it. If they don't get at least 6 points from that, the schedule is only going to get tougher from there. And already they're at a disadvantage in this group because they don't have any Nations League to fall back on. They're already, I think, at or near the bottom of the table so far. I just think they might fade back to not necessarily becoming a minnow again, but becoming a team that you would expect to miss the flight. And I think they're going to miss the flight.
One thing that we must note, and which is a very sad situation, but they would also be without their star man Gylfi Sigurdsson because of that allegation against him. So he was not called up for the national team. He is probably currently suspended or on time off because it's a tough thing to be dealing with. So listen, man, Iceland, listen, as much as you have been doing well and you've given us a Cinderella story, I don't know, man. I had them on standby just because I give them a chance in this very, very open group where when you really look at this group on paper, it's them and Germany supposed to actually be on top, and Romania. But the group is very lopsided right about now. Where do you have Iceland again?
I had them on miss the flight because I think that while it would not be surprising if they go to the playoffs, I don't like their odds there.
Yeah, and the whole Gylfi Sigurdsson situation is just, it's just
messed
sad,
up,
man.
especially the charges.
Yeah, and to just touch on another one, the whole Benjamin Mendy situation as well.
Oh yeah, I heard about that loosely.
Yeah, and another situation I found out about today while doing a little research is the former Zambian coach as well. He's also up for similar allegations. So it's just Mr. Militin Sredojevic. It's just crazy. But anyways, we'll continue. I don't want to go too off tangent here. Let's talk about Romania, man. Romania, very, very strange country that basically it has that language that no other country speaks, right? Romanian, which is very.
It's Romania's actually, it's a Romance language. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But its location in Europe is odd because they're surrounded by a bunch of Slavic countries, and they're kind of like an anomaly in their own region of the continent. It's an interesting place, and Romania does have a rich footballing history, both nationally and domestically. Sides like Steaua Bucuresti, who won the European Cup, that was before the Champions League era. They did that back in the late 80s. You go back to the 1994 Romanian national team, who reached the quarterfinals of the World Cup that year under I can't pronounce his name, George Hagi. Yeah. So Romania, I think, like on paper in this group, you would think, along with Iceland, they really should be the ones that are challenging. But because of the fact you've had North Macedonia and Armenia really do something special so far, nobody in this group is really safe by any means. Romania themselves, they beat North Macedonia, they lost to Germany, and I believe they lost to Armenia on the road earlier this year. They have upcoming games against Iceland away. I think they play North Macedonia away, and they have one game at home against Liechtenstein. I think Romania is going to miss the flight, though. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised they managed to come second, but right now I just look at the group and it comes across like Armenia and North Macedonia, we'll get to in a moment, are really in better form right now at the current moment. Romania, they missed the last European Championship, whereas North Macedonia, they premiered at the European Championship this summer. And I just think that maybe the likes of North Macedonia and Armenia are in a better groove right now. So I have Romania on miss the flight. How about you?
Well, I actually have them on visa denied, to tell the truth.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think they have the quality to even come through the playoffs, man. And look, Romania team that last made it to the World Cup in 1998, where the entire team dyed their hair blonde, and they made the playoffs for 2002, didn't make it, and for 2014 as well. So they've always had quality, but just not enough to push the envelope and make it to the creme de la creme, the FIFA World Cup. So I have them as visa denied, but you have them as missed the flight. They're a decent team. They're a decent team, man.
Well, that's an occasion where you were more ruthless than I was.
Definitely. Let us talk about Germany. We only got 3 teams to go, and let's talk about Germany. Interestingly, Germany, it's crazy. They're third in this group right now. 6 points. They have qualified for 19 out of 21 World Cups, so it's even preposterous to think that they're going to miss the World Cup, but you never know. 1954, 74, 90, 1990, 2014 champions. One of the most successful nations when it comes to the World Cup. Germany. They're going through somewhat of a transition with manager Hansi Flick taking over from Joachim Löw, who I think spent 3 years too much after they got knocked out in the group stages. He should have been gone. And it actually showed in qualifiers, and he's now gone. So how do you think they'll do with in the Hansi Flick era in terms of them making it to the World Cup?
I think they're lucky to get a group like this. I think that the draw was kind to them. Now, of course, they got an infamous result with that loss at home to the North Macedonians. But it's still going to take something spectacular for them to miss out. And plus, with Jogi Löw finally gone, we saw how Hansi Flick came in. He overturned Bayern Munich. I actually expect him to do the same with Germany. I think they're going to qualify directly, comfortably. I agree. I mean, I said before, Jogi Löw stayed about 1,000 days longer than he should have, literally.
Yeah.
Should have been gone. It took 2 disappointing Nations Leagues and a Euro 2020 exit in the round of 16 to England of all teams for him to finally leave. And not only that, he left on his own terms,
which is crazy.
which is inexcusable. And I've said before on my channel, I'm being a little bit ruthless. It's hard to feel sorry for Germany, because like the DFB, this is kind of like what they did to themselves. They were afraid to make that change after the last World Cup, and now they bring in a new manager with just 15 months before the next one. So, but they're lucky. They got a group like this. They avoided a strong second tier team in this group. They could have gotten to really challenge them for that top spot. Like they avoided Switzerland, they avoided Poland or Sweden. So I think they're going to qualify directly. I don't really have much to say else about Germany. I trust Hansi Flick, though. But here's the thing about Germany. I will say they need to be careful. North Macedonia took their scalp. The other teams in this group are going to believe they can do it as well.
Exactly. You got to keep your eye on this fixture that's coming up against Armenia, though. They do play Liechtenstein, so I do expect them to destroy Liechtenstein on the road. I expect that. But then the game against Armenia is a tricky game. It's a very, very tricky game that they should not take lightly. And then they play Iceland on the road in Reykjavik. So it's those two fixtures. I think if Germany and I did look at, when you really look at their squad, Hansi Flick called up some really unknown players, like players that even though I do scroll through and I look through the Bundesliga teams and I do keep in touch of what's going on, I don't know some of these players. So it could be a tricky one. It could really be a tricky one, man. But I do think they'll have enough to qualify for the World Cup, though. It would be disastrous if they don't make it. What's the famous saying? I think Gary Lineker, what did he say about Germany?
Football is a simple game. 22 men play on a pitch for 90 minutes, and at the end of the day, the Germans always win.
Oh man! And did he say that in the wake of didn't Germany beat England in the 1990? Was it 1990 or what? What World Cup did he say that?
They did beat Germany in the semis of 1990. I don't know if that was the specific event that inspired the quote.
Yeah. So let's just continue here and talk about these two teams that were supposed to actually be minnows, somewhat just above, or flirting with minnow status, especially Armenia. And I know the Armenian fans would be like, nah, we're much better than that. We are more than Mkhitaryan. There's actually better players and all of that. But what Armenia has done so far is simply ridiculous, bro. This is shocking what they have done. 1-0 against Liechtenstein, but they beat Iceland 2-0, and then beat Romania 3-2, which is like, whoa. I'm ready to see what they're gonna do against Germany. Mm-hmm. And they have that Nations League cushion as well, which is very interesting. Who knows what would happen if the stars align, they would somehow end up in the playoffs. And I had no choice but to put Armenia in the playoffs. This is their best start ever. They have never ever impressed in World Cup qualifiers before, and who knows, man? Dream on. Aerosmith says dream on Armenia. Talk to me. Well, I actually skipped. I got carried away there. Let's talk about Armenia and then we talk about North Macedonia, though, because I got carried away there with Armenia. Talk to me about Armenia, man.
Armenia is hard for me to assess because I think a caveat that needs to be mentioned here is that this, outside of Germany, it might not be the most challenging group. But look, they're one of only 4 teams in all of Europe right now to be sitting on 9 points. Those other 3 are Italy, England, and Denmark. And this is a stellar start for Armenia. You look at their upcoming schedule. They play North Macedonia away. Yeah, it's tricky, but it's winnable. They beat North Macedonia in the Nations League. They were in the same group. They play. They then play, I believe. Let me see here. They play against Liechtenstein. That's a mandatory 3 points for them. And then they play away to Germany, and that is going to be one of the more enticing matchups of all of September, in my view. They could come through that, even if they lose to Germany, Dom. They could come through the September window sitting on 15 points, and they would still be level with Germany because Germany have 6 points, and if Germany wins their 3 games, they could still be level with them. So Armenia, I can't believe I'm saying this. For now I have them on standby because they can. I mean, dare I say, can they challenge for first in this group and qualify directly? If not, maybe they can come through the playoffs.
Look, if Germany continues to drop points like this, Armenia definitely has a chance to qualify directly. That would be absolutely nuts.
Mental, yes.
That would be nuts. I think the nation of Armenia, they would go crazy if this actually happened. And they deserve to be on standby, judging from the start they've got. Would you have put them on standby if we actually did this when everyone had 0?
Oh, hell no. I would have put them at either missed the flight or even visa denied, because I would have had Iceland. Yeah, I would have had all 3 of Iceland, Romania, and North Macedonia ahead of them. because of what North Macedonia did earlier this year. I would have had them on visa denied. So they might be the biggest like beneficiaries of the fact that games have already been played, because I never thought I would put them on standby at all.
Last but not least, North Macedonia, one of the coolest flags in the world and in world football. Talk to me about North Macedonia, man. They are potential debutants and they qualified for their first Euros, where they benefited from the Nations League path. So wait. Okay, continue.
Well, the sun may be setting on this video, but the sun is still rising, as you see on North Macedonia's flag. I was going back and forth between standby and missed the flight. But, I don't see much separating Armenia and North Macedonia in quality. North Macedonia has already got those 3 points against Germany. So as much as we talk about Armenia, North Macedonia only has to worry about Germany one more time, whereas they still play the likes of Romania and Iceland and Liechtenstein. North Macedonia could very much so challenge for one of those top 2 spots. Do they have the quality to come through the playoffs? Maybe. It depends. But I'm going to put them on standby, because if they can beat Germany, why the hell can't they beat Hungary or Finland or the Czechs in the playoffs? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have them on standby. How about you?
I actually have them in missed the flight, but they could, man. It's very intriguing. And this chat was worth every minute of it, because just going through all 55 teams, giving every team the attention they deserve, it is not easy, man. It is not easy. So guys, if you got to the end of this, it took us 2 hours to do this, and this is a marathon. This is a marathon video that we obviously, if you get to the end here, we have split up into various parts. And look, it was fun. It was fun doing it with you, Football Pharoah, and it's gonna be very exciting to just go on this World Cup 2022 journey with you as well, because you and I, we're planning on doing a lot of content over the next year and about, let's say, 2 months or so leading up to the World Cup, and collaborating. Now that we have great platforms like StreamYard, where I could just call you and we're right there, we're basically in the same room, it's perfect. It's perfect, man. So it was a pleasure, man. It was a pleasure. What do you have anything to say? I know you want to cry and everything, but it's
Yeah, well, we've been working on this, guys, for 2 hours and 41 minutes now. Approaching 3 hours. We do this because we love this kind of content, and we know you do too. If you reach the end of this series, we hope you really enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed yet to Dom, please do so. You're going to get content on his channel that you will not find anywhere else. Also, thank you for having me on. It was really fun to go through these teams, and I can't wait for the ball to be kicked off next week. We got a lot of games all around the world, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I know you're gonna be going live for these games. I'm gonna try to do so too. So, guys, if you want to catch Football Pharoah, go in depth. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. A link would be in the description box down below. As he said, sub to me if you're not already done so. Leave us some comments in the chat, man. Like the video if you do like it. All the best to every single one of the teams participating in qualifiers. And from your boy, Football Pharoah, and Dominic Rich, peace out. Rich Squad.
Peace.
Namaste. Peace.